Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, I am SocioPsycho, and this is Mob Reviews, and today we're going to take a look at Claire. This is created by Hailstorm Games, available on PC. It is a 2D horror exploration style adventure game where you play as a female character, start as a little girl and then a young woman, and in an explorational manner to find out what horrors are plaguing you and understand the mystery of memories and your life. How well does it actually handle? And that's what we're here to answer. And we'll begin in the options menu. Now, in the options menu, they do have a large variable of screen resolutions, which is definitely nice. The graphic quality of the game is very basic, but that doesn't deter it from what the atmosphere of the game that it's trying to accomplish. So the graphics may be basic in a 2D low-res manner, but it does have plenty of resolutions, which is nice, and the fact that it doesn't look bad. It keeps the aesthetic with its atmosphere perfectly, and therefore there's no crossover or any issues. Performance-wise, I have not had any clipping, crashing, or tearing. The game has been running at 60 frames per second with no issues on that regard. The controls are all easily rebindable. You do have input for Xbox controller if that's your thing, but I've not had any issues with the input when it comes to the keyboard for PC. And lastly, the sound quality, everything on different sliders. The game is split up, the music propelling an atmosphere, the sounds of the creatures or eerie sense of things happening in the world all play a role in continuing that atmosphere, which allows you to feel like, ooh. So we'll start off with the atmosphere. The atmosphere of the game is very well done. The story may be a little construed from what you read and see on the front page, thinking that you're going to play as a young girl and try to survive some things, and then the story takes a little bit of a curveball. You end up in a hospital and then going through memories and different little areas. It has a bit of a sidetrack that you may not expect. The story is not full front. Instead of having the story handed to you and everything told to you, you have to explore for the story. You have to understand what's going on by exploring different regions and getting deeper and deeper into the darkness, which is the game. Which is done actually quite well. The fact that you have to actually have a in-depth look at different aspects of the game to explore around, to truly understand what's going on, or to be horrified perhaps, or scared about what you see. The atmosphere ties very well into that. It keeps up with its spooky theme of there could be danger around any corner, what's going to happen, but there's not really such as like jump scares or anything like that. The game isn't meant to jump out and scare you and try to make you pee yourself. It's more of a subtle nudge like this could happen to you, or this could be something that just makes you uncomfortable for some sort of reason, but not something that's out to get you. While there are sort of monsters in the game, and there are save locations in the game as well, you don't have the availability to save freely, and you have to go back to a save spot. But the penalty for dying is losing all that progress, so it does sort of force you to have to be careful as you walk through. So in the whole atmosphere aspect, I really appreciate and enjoy what it has and how it's relayed to the player as it continues to just slowly creep up on you, and you're like, oh, whoa, this place is really getting unnerving. Which brings us to a level design. Now, when it comes to level design on a 2D game, you're going to have some sort of difficulty in making it not maze-like. Because with a 2D game, you don't have obviously 3D models, so the availability to make it more obvious that the pathways you're taking or the choices you're taking in the direction you're going is more open-ended is a lot harder. Unfortunately, when it comes to level design in this game, I feel that it sort of failed. Now that is also heavily on a personal note because the actual level design itself is maze-like. I did not enjoy the maze-like atmosphere. You enter one door, go down a hallway that looks exactly like the last hallway, and then there's other doors and it continues in that progress. The continuation reusage or similar looks and feels in the level designs as to enough to know that you're going down a different hallway, but enough of the same to be repetitive. It is very maze-like, and it's this huge integer of maze creation which make you end up backtracking continuously, make you have to go here and go there and recheck locations because you may have got spun around. Now, this may add to your enjoyment of the atmosphere, sort of give it a labyrinth feel. This may give you like oh, that's what I'm looking for because I want to feel like I am sort of lost in where I'm going. And I understand that, I do. But for me, the maze-like level design was not a boon. It became more annoying because if you made one mistake, it was like, okay, well wait, where do I go now? How do I get to where I need to go? This, unfortunately, backed with the gameplay that you are tied into, is sort of the downfall of the game. The gameplay of the game comes down to fetch quests. Now, if you watch my channel, you know I am not a fan of fetch quests. So yet again, this comes down to a personal note. Is the way the fetch quests are laid out wrong, inaccurate, hard to find, or difficult that don't work? No, they work. They absolutely work. So if you like fetch quests, you're going to enjoy this. But I do not enjoy moving so far one direction when having to backtrack the same distance. Now I have an item. And the continuation, it's not like a puzzle. There are really no puzzles in the game. It's a continuation of, hey, I have this item, I use this item here, I have to go fetch this one item and bring it back. And it's that fetching of items tied into a maze level design which really prolong the gameplay. And I personally did not feel that the game respected my time because I made so little progress in comparison to how much time I spent in the game in between moving around trying to find where I was versus finding what I needed to find, the item, then bringing that item back to a correct location, therefore moving me to the next zone to do the same thing. So at the end of the day, the game runs smoothly. It has a terrific atmosphere, a story that's not exactly what you may be expecting if you look at it on the front page, but still a story that is sort of told in a self-explorational manner, which gets by on its own. It's not the best, it's not the worst. But then you have a level design which is very maze-like, and the repetitive usage of some of the details do get a little bit worn out. Now that is a personal note, but it's not something that I enjoy, the whole maze-like atmosphere. But if you like labyrinths, I can see it. Tied into the gameplay, which is just a continuation of fetch quests. At the end of the day, it comes down to my personal opinion that I did not enjoy it because of how the game handled. The game itself actually played well, but it was definitely something that you had to enjoy the aspects of maze and fetching, and not a story that was hand in hand with you, a story that was told explorational. So while the game played fine, it just wasn't for me. And I can't recommend it to anybody who might feel the same way about this game as I do, but if you like what I depicted, then absolutely. The game doesn't play bad, but it definitely draws a line in the sand as to what you will enjoy versus what you won't. And I can't fault them for that, I just did not enjoy it. Thank you ladies and gentlemen for having SocioPsycho, and this is Mob Reviews. See you next time.